In the meantime here, we do want to bring into the conversation some of these Georgia state officials, including Republican Lieutenant Governor Bert Jones. He joins me. Lieutenant Governor, thanks for being with us here, and our condolences here from Live Now to your state as they grapple with a tragedy like this and of this magnitude. It's a tragedy that has played out so many times in communities nationwide here. What state resources are you committing to the community of Winder, to Apalachee High School in the wake of this?
Well, Andrew, I appreciate you having me on this evening. I wish it was under different circumstances, but first I want to say our thoughts and prayers go out to the entire Winder, Georgia communities, and especially the school community there, and the victims, the families, and the victims of the families that had two students that were killed, and two educators, two school teachers, as well as about 8 students and one other teacher who were injured in this. And just a horrific incident that took place, Andrew, and our, like I said, in a small community like Winder, it's a tight-knit community. You just never think of something like this could happen. But I can assure you that all our resources that we have available, from our local law enforcement to state law enforcement, GBI, our hands are on deck, and ready to help this community however we can. But just a tragic situation.
Lieutenant Governor, have you and/or Governor Kemp spoken to school officials there on the ground in Winder, and/or have you spoken to any of the victims' family members or friends or loved ones?
I have not spoken to the family members as of yet. The sheriff's office has reached out to the sheriff there. He's a good friend of mine. He does a good job there in his community there. I will be reaching out to the family when they make those names public. They haven't made those names public as of yet. And but just like I said, it's we're just trying to see through all of the situation that went down. Like I said, 14-year-old kid walks into a classroom and, pulls out a weapon, a firearm, and, just opens fire on his peers and his teachers. And, went into the classroom. It was the initial, incident that took place. And as he went down the hallway, fired off a couple more rounds. And then the on-staff security officer actually is the one who confronted him and convinced him to give up his weapon, and that's how it had ended. But like I said, a lot of unnecessary tragedy that went on in those few minutes of that young man's thought process.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's still so many questions that so many of us want to know. Some of mine, though, are how did this 14-year-old get a weapon? Where was the provenance of the weapon? How did he obtain it? And also whether or not, he was somewhat of a disciplinary problem to school officials, whether or not he was or had at least a record known to school officials as being problematic here. Do you know anything or any details on those two questions?
No, those are all details that will come out, I'm sure, in the coming days. Don't know much about the young man, other than his age, and they did state his name, but don't know any history about him. The eyewitnesses of some of the people who actually were in the classroom when the shots were fired. The young lady that I heard an interview on TV, she was not familiar with him, but it is, it's a high school of about 2,000 students. So it's safe to say that not everybody in that school probably is familiar with every student walking the hallways, but I'm sure all that information will be coming out. Those are all questions that we have about, how he obtained the weapon, and what was his motives and everything. So those are all coming in the coming days.
Yeah, speaking of that question that I had about, whether or not he was known to not only school officials, if he had a record, but law enforcement officials. We are learning this right now. This is a statement put out by the FBI Atlanta field office. I'm not going to read the whole statement. The second paragraph goes as follows, that in May of last year, The FBI's National Threat Operations Center received several anonymous tips about online threats to commit a school shooting at an unidentified location and time. The online threats contained photographs of guns, and within 24 hours, the FBI determined the online post originated in Georgia, and the FBI's Atlanta field office referred the information to the Jackson County Sheriff's Office for action. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office located a possible subject. A 13-year-old male interviewed him and his father. The father stated he had hunting guns in the house, but the subject did not have unsupervised access to them. The subject denied making the threats online. Jackson County alerted local schools for continued monitoring of the subject. At that time, there was no probable cause for arrest or to take any additional law enforcement action on the local, state, or federal levels here. Lieutenant Governor, obviously, none of that is confirmed that this is the same student that we are talking about or the same school district that we are talking about. But go into what law enforcement needs to know to prepare for situations like this. The response in general, what did you make of it today?
Well, number one, on that document you had from the feds there, that Jackson County is this is not the same county that this incident happened in. Winder, Georgia, is in a county called Barrow County. They're probably within 30 miles of each other, but it's not the same county. So, I don't know where that information came from, but the law enforcement there, local law enforcement, they responded. Like I said, it was a on-staff security officer that ended the situation by confronting the 14-year-old, a young man that did these horrible acts, and it was a very quick time frame. The sheriff's offices were on the scene, as well as state police were on the scene in a very, very quick response time. So, these are things that I know for a fact that this is a school system that is a very good school system as far as academically. It's very well known to have good academic standards and results. And like I said, it's a small community, and you just don't expect something like this out of a community like that. So
this information is coming to us literally in the moment here, and we do now know that, according to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, that FBI statement that I just read out is in connection to the subject in custody for today's shooting at Apalachee High School. Your reaction to that, Lieutenant Governor?
Well, like I said, obviously this is new information to me. It doesn't change the facts of what happened here. The Jackson County, like I said, is not in the same. Apalachee High School is not in the same county, but obviously, they're within 30 miles of each other. It could be the same person. I don't know, because I'm hearing this information for the first time. Nonetheless, this situation did happen. It's a tragic situation. It's something that we're going to do everything we can, resources-wise, to prevent something like this from happening again. And once again, all we can do right now in the next few days is just, love on the families that are affected by this, love on this community, and give them all the support and help that we can as a state. And that's what we do plan on doing.
All right, Lieutenant Governor Bert Jones from the state of Georgia. Can't thank you enough for your time. Once again, our condolences, we send them to you. Finally, in parting here, what is your message to this community? How can they recover from something like this? The grief is still so raw.
Well, this is something. This is one of those instances that you don't ever forget, this is one of those tragic situations that, as a father, is almost. I just got sick to my stomach when I heard the news about this. I've got a 15 and a 12-year-old. I've got a 9th grader, that is the same age as some of the victims today. So this is something that you don't ever forget about. But the one thing I do know, in a small community like Winder, they are going to band together, and they are going to, like I said, circle each other and comfort each other in this terrible, terrible time.
All right, sir. Thanks so much for your time. We'll talk again.
Thank you.
All right. In the meantime here, before we go to a quick quick commercial break. Hope you found that conversation informative. Like we said, we do appreciate Lieutenant Governor Jones's time there. We know he is extremely, extremely busy, but this is breaking in the moment, and this is very important, and we want to reiterate this just to make sure there's no confusion here. This is what we know. According to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, they say here's the FBI statement in connection to the subject in custody for today's shooting at Apalachee High School. Now, this is the FBI statement. This is the same individual we're talking about. I'm reading the statement right now from FBI Atlanta, the field office there. They say FBI Atlanta responded earlier today to Apalachee High School following reports of an active shooter. Throughout the day, FBI personnel have been coordinating with and supporting local and state law enforcement. The FBI will dedicate all available resources as requested to seek justice and bring closure for the victims and their families. Now, in May of 2023, the FBI's National Threat Operations Center received several anonymous tips about online threats to commit a school shooting at an unidentified location and time. The online threats contained photographs of guns. Within 24 hours, the FBI determined the online post originated in Georgia, and the FBI's Atlanta field office referred the information to the Jackson County Sheriff's Office for action. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office located a possible subject, a 13-year-old male, and interviewed him and his father. The father stated he had hunting guns in the house, but the subject did not have unsupervised access to them. The subject denied making the threats online. Jackson County alerted local schools for continued monitoring of the subject. Now, at that time, they say, there was no probable cause for arrest or to take any additional law enforcement action on the local, state, or federal levels. This is brand new. The FBI Atlanta reiterating their confirmation to confirm the subject referred to as the 13-year-old is the same subject in custody related to today's shooting at Apalachee High School. Now, this is quite significant. So in May of last year, this is what we are learning, according to the FBI, that law enforcement from the FBI field office in Atlanta became aware of threats online to a specific school there in Jackson County. And so there you're hearing from the FBI saying essentially that he was 13 at the time is the same subject there. There was a photo of guns that registered at this threat assessment center there that the FBI has that triggered an interview with the 13-year-old and the father. And no arrests were made at the time. They determined there was no probable cause to do that. And so this is very, very interesting. We're tying all of these threads together with this reporting. So we wanted to make sure we got all of that in there as well.